You're listening to the Patriot Nation Podcast.
Hi, welcome into another edition of the Patriot Nation Podcast. As always, to your guy, Pat Lane, here with my man, Matt St. Jean. And Matt, the Patriots didn't win on Sunday. They didn't win. We didn't expect them to win. But I still feel a little, maybe not super encouraged, but a little encouraged after what I saw on Sunday.
I mean, this is what we wanted right here. Drake Maye to play well. You can see the headline below us, 3 touchdowns. There's a lot to get into, especially the 41 on the other side of the score there. But we all said that this season was going to be determined based on growth and how well the quarterback played. And quarterback played very, very well for his first ever NFL start.
Yeah, and listen, there were some ups and downs, right? He had that. I thought that his first interception was a really bad throw. He had pop wide open in the middle of the field and just an air melted over his head. Maybe held on to the ball a little bit too long on the strip sack, but he didn't hold on to the ball that long. And so, it's one of those things in the second interception. I mean, golly, who could possibly blame him for that interception? And I thought Taylor Kyles put it perfectly where he said, if that happened to me on Madden, I would have taken my control and chucked it to Connecticut. It's just unbelievable. There's no way that could ever happen. Just an unbelievable catch by the D-back. And, and so, of course, they turn it over. Austin Hooper has the fumble as well. But 4 turnovers isn't getting it done. Not getting it done for the offense, especially, 3 of those come in the second half. And what's crazy about 3 of those coming in the second half is that the strip sack was on the second play of the half. The Austin Hooper play was on the first play of that drive.
Yeah, 6th play of the half.
Yep, the 6th play of the half. And then the other interception, the Maye's second interception, was on the second play of that drive as well. So you talk about those quick change things, and the defense had a lot wrong today on the defense, but you just can't keep putting your defense in those positions, especially against a high-powered offense like Houston. They're just a good team with a lot of good pieces on it. Even with Nico Collins out, they're a good team. And so, just unfair to expect the defense to be able to be successful through those.
Yeah, and defense got put in a lot of tough spots today. Do we want to start with breaking down the Drake Maye of it all? And
I think so. I think that's a smart thing to do.
I think we should just take this kind of chronologically through the game for Drake Maye, because I thought you saw one of the things I noticed when he was talking in the post-game presser. He was talking a lot about how he came out amped up.
Yeah.
And I think that showed. So the first possession, there's really not a lot to talk about on the first possession. It was 2 runs to ease everyone in. Don't get anything on either one of them. No push on the line. 3rd and long. Nobody's open. Drake Maye chucked it 20 yards over Jalen Bullock's head on the corner.
Yeah.
You sent Beringer out there. But the second possession, you got Maye's first completion of the game, a little out of structure to Kendrick Bourne with, I think, a man in his face, if I'm remembering it correctly.
Yeah, it was a rollout, and Ben Brown just got absolutely smoked off the snap, and so they almost blew up the fake exchange. He was in there so fast.
I thought it might have been
to the right,
offside.
It was close.
Yeah, which we can get into the other offensive stuff here, but early in the game with a center who just got here, you're going to have simple snap counts, and the Texans time it up
correct
right off the bat. Being able to, with past Patriots quarterbacks, that play is a sack without a doubt. That is a sack immediately.
Yep.
Drake Maye, turns it into a positive, which I think is one of the things, when we talked about him even before the draft, his ability to turn negative plays into positive plays because of his athleticism is one of the reasons why you can even consider taking him that high in the draft.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, and look, that's 100% what you're trying to get, right? And it was on display at some points. I mean, look, he was their leading rusher for the day too. So, they got nothing going on the ground, and he was able to, to scamper out and get a few yards. But 100% that play was a play. First of all, they wouldn't run it with Jacoby Brissett. They certainly would have run it with Drake Maye, with Mac Jones. I'm sorry. And so, it's one of those things that, like, yeah, they wouldn't have run it before, but it also wouldn't have been successful with anybody else.
Yeah. Unfortunately, almost immediately, 2 plays after that, I think it was that third down?
I thought it might have been third down. I can't remember, to be honest with you.
I'll bring up the actual play-by-play here. Third down of that possession. After you get to 3rd and 3, Bourne gets some yards on the first play. May's a little too jacked up, and you have the crossing route to Pop Douglas wide open, overthrows it by 5-10 yards, and it's an interception. And I think a theme of the day was May's accuracy over the middle to Pop Douglas, which is something I know as we go through this, we're going to be hitting on a bunch here. But this was the first 10 minutes of this game or whatever was the nightmare, like a nightmare start. Defense goes down the field. Defense lets the other team go down the field, come in immediate 3 and out, go down the field again, which it's a bad punt in there. And then you throw a pick. And this could have turned into a 21-0 game immediately. And that is your worst case. And obviously, so sitting on the couch, it's like, okay, well, that's it for Drake Maye. It's over. That's your immediate reaction. This isn't going to work. What was the feeling in the stadium?
Yeah, it was not good. It was not good. It was one of those where you just sat back and said, like, this is going to be ugly. And, it's going to be real bad. And this could be disastrous for the Patriots. And all of a sudden the game could be, could be over before it even starts. And at that point, right, it was 14-0. He throws the interception. And then after he throws the interception, it's, they have the ball. They have the ball, deep in Patriots territory. And you're thinking it's going to be 21-0. And Drake Maye hasn't even, he's completed 1 pass so far. The game's over. And that was a scary thing. I did also get in a fight with a dude, not in a fight, but some moron was like, Bryce Behringer sucks, dude. I was like, what are you talking about? He's literally the best player on the team. What? And he goes, last week he had a punt for 9 yards. And I was like, what? No, he didn't. I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, look it up, dude. And so, in case you were that moron that was at the game, Bryce Behringer averaged 51.7 yards per punt last week with a long of 69. He did have 3 touchbacks. I will admit to that. He had 3 touchbacks, which is not good. But it's pretty difficult. It'd be pretty difficult for one of those 6 punts to have gone 9 yards and still have an average of 51.7. That's
very hard to do.
I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, this guy's like 9 yards. I'm like, what? Where'd that even come from? I was like, okay, buddy, whatever you say.
And Patriots special teams are by DVOA ranked 3rd coming into this week. I think there were some issues today, which we can talk about. But Behringer, by and large, has not been one of them. He and Schooler both have been fantastic players.
He had a bad punt today. He did have a bad punt today. I will say that was a bad punt. And you mentioned it too, that it was not a good punt. It was low and short, which is not good. It's a bad combination.
The timing was poor. I think you look at the first 3 possessions, and I know we're talking about May here, but very first kickoff of the game, Sione Takitaki jumps off sides early, which I get. It's your first play with a new kickoff. I get it. And then you get a poor return from Michael Hasty on the kickoff after that, and then a poor punt by Behringer, which really set up Marcellus Dial in a tough position where he can't make a tackle on it.
Right.
And Houston starting at the 35, then New England's 45. Drake Maye's first drive is at his own 23. It's just not you're not optimizing things here. You need everybody around him to step up. But but that started to happen, I thought, as the game progressed. Obviously, Vidarian Lowe gets hurt somewhere in there. I don't remember exactly when he got hurt. Zach Thomas comes in to replace him at left tackle. And, you saw May had a scramble for a first down. It was the first play on a drive. After that.
Yes. Yeah.
Just going through the score thing here. Yeah, they got a little bit of yardage, but a sack. But you saw May started to build a rhythm. I think at that point, once they got through the initial jitters of the first couple drives, they were able to actually get some yardage. He was able to deliver some passes with accuracy, and then the game held at that 14-0 point, and they were able to get better field position, which allowed him to settle in and start playing better.
Yeah, and honestly, I look at it and thought, as bad as the Patriots have played in the first half, right? They forced the interception in the end zone, which was a really nice play by Jalen Hawkins, and of course, good play by Marcus Jones. And he took out of the end zone, and you're thinking, what are you doing? But then I'm like, well, it's Marcus Jones. I'm okay with that, right?
When he has the ball in his hands, he can do whatever he wants. I'm not 100%. Judge him.
Yep, totally agree. And so, but of course, they don't get any points off of that. But kind of flips field position a little bit, and then no one really. I mean, it's literally after that interception, it goes Patriots 6 plays 21 yards, Texans 3 plays 5 yards, Patriots 5 plays 9 yards. Texans 5 plays 14 yards, and now it's like almost the end of the half, and the Patriots got the ball back, with 59 seconds left, and
53
seconds left. I thought Houston got the ball with 11. Either way, so they get the ball, and they do a really nice job. It's so funny because they ran the ball in the first play, and people in the stadium were booing, and I was like, no, you don't know, no. I was like, you can't boo now. We said last week, don't freaking run. Don't throw it 3 times.
Well, this is, you're sitting there and it's week 2. You're at home, your first home game of the year.
Right.
You get the ball, less than 2 minutes left in the first half deep in your own territory and give the ball back because you don't manage it correctly.
Right.
Same thing happens in week 5, your second home game. And I'm sitting there and it's a third home game of the year. This has been the theme of them being unable to execute in these scenarios in the worst possible way that doesn't involve a turnover. And is this going to happen again? So running the ball in that first play, you get the clock going,
exactly,
which was good, and then Drake Maye takes over.
And then you're able to complete some passes. He throws a nice pass to Demario Douglas for a first down. Drop by Jalen Polk.
Well, that Pop Douglas play, that wasn't just a nice play. It was a 20-yard completion that he turns that into. It's a drag route. He's over near the sideline, makes somebody miss, and taken off, which is the kind of play, and this is why he's out there. This is why he's probably your best receiver at this point.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. I mean, I don't think there's any real argument about that.
And this is, I just want to, with the context of the other stuff at the end of the half too, it's been those first 2 home games. You run it on the first play, pick up yards, pass on the second play, and it's an incompletion for whatever reason.
Yep.
This is that same thing. You run it on the first play, you get to second and short, and now you're passing it, but you get a quarterback that executes it. He actually finds the open guy and delivers it accurately. And Pop does the rest. He turns that into a big play. But I just thought, when we were checking boxes about where this is an upgrade for the offense, that was one that stood out to me right away as Jacoby Brissett got 2 chances and couldn't do this. May is doing it on his first one against the better defense.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. By the way, James with a great reference here, so I got to pull him up here. Poke with the kid in Little Giants talking to his hands today. You ever seen Little Giants?
No.
Oh, it's a great one. You gotta go back and watch it. So good. Rick Moranis, Ed O'Neill, John Madden is in it. It's great. Great movie. But anyways, this is one of those things where it's done right. You get a penalty, of course, which is nice. Then you get Demario Douglas, a little pass to Demario Douglas. And what was strange to me is they threw a flag on that play, and they called illegal hands to the face, which I didn't really see. Now, it's possible that I saw it, but I didn't really see it. It's possible it was there. But what I did see was Pop Douglas get hit in the head as he's going down, and that's a penalty every time. Every time it's a penalty.
So
they threw the flag, and that wasn't it.
Yeah, there was. So it looked like there was a miscommunication with New England's sideline on this initially too, because there was illegal hands to the face as Pop's catching the ball. Whoever it is has got his hand up on Hunter Henry's face mask.
Okay,
which you're not allowed to do. There was definitely a flag there, but it was clear that New England anticipated that it was going to be a hit to the head because Pop got hit up high. And they accepted the penalty at first, and then I think ended up declining it because if you accept that, you get 5 yards, and it was an 8-yard completion.
Right, exactly.
And the time comes off the clock either way, and they had the timeout. So, you're not worried about the clock in that scenario. So, yeah, you end up declining the penalty. But, yeah, Pop got hit in the head last year in the Giants game, and there was no penalty on it.
They just
and
don't, for whatever reason, they don't like calling it. I don't understand.
And it's something, it's funny. Nate Dice was on this all game complaining about this crew in particular, and I think he has beef with this crew from previous weeks as well, with their game management, which was also, look at the Patriots being confused about what's going on. Part of that's probably weird situation, young head coach, but also if the coaches are assuming it's going to be one type of penalty and they're confused why it's not,
right?
Maybe there's something going on with the ref crew, either the communication or you're not calling what are some obvious fouls.
Well, they missed the face mask on right at the beginning of the second half. They missed the face mask, the obvious face mask right up the middle. And the next play is the Drake Maye strip sack. So it's one of those tough things where
arguably you could have called the body weight roughing the passer rule.
100%.
I think there was a lot of contact to Maye coming down, which is why he came up injured.
That's correct.
Just like the whole, I have my disagreements with the rule. I think the rule is a little bit silly and puts some tough defenders in tough positions they shouldn't necessarily be in. But that was the point of the rule, to stop quarterbacks getting hurt because defenders are landing on them for no reason. Well,
yeah, correct. And I think, and they didn't even know the rules of the game. Now, maybe they explained why it was pass interference on Marte Mapu on the first drive.
No, they had the, what's his face? Not Sterator. Whoever the rules guy is for, the typical officials shill that comes in on the broadcast to explain why the officials are right. And he was like, I can't explain this one.
It makes no sense. It's not a penalty. It's not a penalty.
It can't be pass interference, right? If you're not the ball is in the air at that point, I believe, but his receiver is not targeted.
Right.
So it's not catchable on that thing.
It's just
that much contact.
Right.
It wasn't far enough down the field for illegal contact.
Right. It was ticky-tack to begin with, and then it's not even a penalty. Then they called later on in the game. They called. I think it was on Wenu for an ineligible man downfield.
They called it on Vidarian Lowe.
They called it on Vidarian Lowe. Vidarian Lowe was engaged with a player that he was engaged with at the line of scrimmage. That's not a penalty. That's not a penalty.
If you replay it, on Wenu was down the field illegally. So I think they just got the wrong number.
Maybe they got the wrong number, but either way, they called it low, and I'm like, what are we doing here, man? Do you even know the rules?
Yeah.
You're the refs. You should know the rules at least.
Yeah, and so it
was just so frustrating.
Inconsistent, I think, is the polite way to say it. And it's Patriots had a ton of flags, and to a degree, some that's on them, but some of that I feel like was the ref crew. And I went through, I was looking at the refs they had last week, and those guys kind of threw a lot of flags too going back. So I do wonder if I think this team has been relatively disciplined, and I think they may have just gotten a bad crew 2 weeks in a row.
It's certainly possible.
Yeah. But going back to the 2-minute drill, though, like you said, that you get that pass to Douglas over the middle, sets you up just outside of field goal range. Second and 3 with 11 seconds left, and Drake Maye arrives in the NFL at that moment. Dime over the shoulder to Kayshon Boutte, beating Stingley down the right sideline. I'm sure you had a really nice view.
Oh, I had a great view of that. That was heading right towards me. And it was just, he made it look so effortless. And look, I know there's a lot of guys in the league that can make that throw. I know that. I understand that. We haven't had a guy that can make that throw since 2019, since Brady left. We haven't had a guy that can make that throw. Sorry, we just haven't.
Cam Newton did it once.
Yeah, but he didn't, though. He did, but not to that effect.
Not consistently. He did it. He did the one to Demir Bird down the middle against Houston, and that was it.
He did. Right. But that was everything was behind him when he threw that ball, right?
No, it wasn't some consistent thing he could go back to. Yeah. Oh, right. Mac Jones had one touchdown that was, I think, this long through the air. And it was what was that?
Yeah.
No, it was the the one against Cincinnati where they threw the ball up on 3rd and 39 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And Scotty Washington volleyball sets it to Jacoby Myers, who catches it for a touchdown. Patriots legend Scotty Washington.
Love it. But that's the type of stuff that we're talking about, right? And so Kayshon Boutte, who, hey, maybe he finally saw an LSU guy out there and he said, you know what, I can dust this guy. I did it in practice for years. Look, Kayshon Boutte to me today did something. He passed some guys in the depth chart. Depth chart. Jalen Polk had a terrible game.
Yeah,
those drops are really starting to show through. And I don't know, I think it was Boris that said, like, he went from a guy that couldn't really separate but had great hands to a guy that can separate easily but can't catch the ball. And I don't understand.
And I'm just going to assume it's like he's got the yips or something and it'll settle
out.
It's
got to be something like that.
Because he had, I think in all of college across 3 years, he had 8 drops. Like, right. He isn't a guy who drops the ball very often. He has got great hands. So, like, I think that'll correct itself with time, but he had 2 today that he should have caught and he didn't. And that's tough. He's going to play. You got to play him through it, and you let him figure it out one way or the other. But frustrating, to say the least.
Oh, yeah.
I
think you're right, though. Let him play through it. Don't bench the kid. Let him play through it because you need him to progress and be good for the future. You need that.
And it's not 1-to-1, obviously, but like, you know who else had a really bad drop problem their rookie year? Like Devontae Adams, who
good point.
I believe also was a high second-round pick by Green Bay back when Elliott Wolf was there, and a lot of the measurables are somewhat similar to what Jalen Polk brings to the table. I don't think Polk's ever going to be that guy, but like, I'm not freaking out yet. I will say, though, there was a little part of me that's like, oh, the last time that we took receivers in the 2nd and 4th round, the 2nd round guy was someone who had great hands, who got to the NFL and couldn't catch the ball anymore. And the 4th round guy never got on the field. And that was Aaron Dobson and Josh Boyce.
Let's just hope that that's not the case.
Yeah.
Although Dustin asked if anyone saw what Javon Baker posted on his story pregame. I did not see that. I don't know what he did. I'm not sure.
You can let us know what that was. But to Boutte, I was watching a little bit of the tape before we jumped on here, like bits and pieces of the tape are online now, and he looks quicker. Maybe it's the new number that he's wearing, but like he looks faster out there. And this was one of the things with Boutte is like his athletic profile stinks because he got hurt in college, didn't take rehab seriously, and a year and a half later at the combine was still dealing with the issues from it. And maybe now, like we are like 3 years, I think, removed from when he initially got injured when he was in college, and maybe he's recovering some of that. Like he looks speed wise, he looks as fast as Polk when they're out there. Quickness wise, he looks as quick as Polk. These are guys, Polk's a 2nd round guy. If Boutte has that level of athleticism, he also has hands. Like that's never really been the biggest concern. He's got some inconsistencies there, but he can make catches. And he has some savvy to him with running routes. Like that's the issue is always whether his athleticism would ever come back and if he'd ever be more than just a guy. And he looked quick today, and that was a really nice route to beat Stingley the way he did. He got on top of him and just right down the sideline. So obviously fantastic throw from Drake Maye, electric stuff there, but Boutte, great game.
Yeah, I agree. And look, I think, overall, when you start to look at what Drake Maye did throughout the rest of the game, right? Of course, he takes the strip sack on the second play of the second half, and you think, all right, the Patriots have some momentum. You're finally feeling good. Strip sack, and you're like, oh my god, dude. And the Texans score 2 plays later, and you're like, Jesus.
You come out of the half thinking we can tie this game.
Yep.
And it's missed face mask into hard hit on the quarterback and balls out.
No, and that's and then it's what? No gain on the run to get the ball back 3 and out. No gain. Quick pass to Kendrick Bourne for 1 yard, and then incomplete pass to Pop. When they get the field goal to go up 24-7.
And that one, I believe, was the one to Pop. That's the one that May missed a little bit, led him just a little bit too much.
Too far. Yeah,
Pop got his hands on him, couldn't catch it.
The
theme of the day was those passes to Pop. First one
100%
is too high. Second one's a little bit in front of him. This was something where Maye was like his two areas of inconsistency with accuracy in college. One of them was throwing to the flats, which we did see. He had a pass early on in the game where he steps up in the pocket, moves, throws to Antonio Gibson in the flat, and Gibson has to like jump to catch it before taking off after the catch.
Yeah.
And then he's inconsistent with leading receivers for anything horizontal in the middle of the field. I don't think any of that's going to change this year, not too much, but third down can't convert because you're just missing the throw a little bit. The read's right mentally, you're right. Throw's not there.
Right. Yeah, the throw's not there. By the way, I like this pop as Maye's new just downs. I like that quite a bit.
For anyone who read my prop bets column on Pat's Pulpit this morning, I wrote in there about how Maye used to throw to Josh Downs a ton. Said take the over on on Pop Douglas receptions and look for that Pop Douglas touchdown, and got both of them.
Would have been right. I wish you had shared that information with me, but that's okay.
I hit on all four today, Pat. You got to read the column.
Brutal. So then the next series, you fumble in the first play. The Austin Hooper fumble. There's a bad throw by Drake Maye. There's a bad. And you talking about to the flat. There's a bad throw by Drake Maye to the flat. Yeah. Austin Hooper's trying to make a play, stays off the ground somehow, and then gets the ball punched out. And you're like, oh God.
I thought he was down for sure in live time.
Me too. Yeah.
Definitely not down.
Definitely not down. Then they force a 3 and out.
Yeah. And this is where the defense really started to hold stout in this section of the game. The middle two quarters, I thought the defense gave you a lot you to hang around.
Well, I think,
a fighting chance.
At a certain point, right? I mean, how much can you really blame the defense for what happened, right? The offense turned the ball over 4 times, right? Gave them the ball inside their own territory 4 times, right? That's way too many times, especially against a good offense.
I've got a lot of blame to go for the defense. When we get to that section, we can hash that out.
Right. And so the other part, and we'll talk about that, but I just think the other part of it for me is that Barmore's out. Bentley's out. You traded Judon. Peppers is out. Like, you're playing with a bunch of also-rans who, by the way, I thought that Jaquelin Roy played well. Had a sack and had a nice play in the run game, but like, he was their best defensive lineman today. When that's the case, it's like, well, what the hell are we talking about, man? Like, how is this team supposed to do anything?
Well, I thought, Godchaw, I thought had a good game. He had a quote after the game too. I gotta dig into the stuff in the trenches to see what was going on.
I'm curious about that. Yeah, how people got to take responsibility. So I just wonder, like, is that a shot at someone? Are people not taking responsibility? I don't know.
Yeah. Let's circle back to this.
Anyways, we'll come back to that. But
get through the defense.
Nice touchdown drive by the Patriots. Really nice play.
I think at that point you're down 27-7, so you got a real gut punch to start the second half, and I think it would have been, especially at that point with Arian Lowe's out. You're starting 2 waiver wire pickups at your tackle spots. One of them is a dude in Zach Thomas you have been actively converting to guard. Like he hasn't been playing tackle in practice. Now he's got to go out there and be the left tackle in front of a rookie quarterback who is the future of the franchise. Like, no pressure, dude. Just go block Will Anderson.
I was going to say one of the best defensive linemen, best edge rushers in the game.
Yeah, just go block him and make sure that, the future of the franchise doesn't get hurt in his first ever start.
Yeah, just brutal.
But I thought they did I thought that was a really nice drive. Alex Van Pelt was a little up and down in this game, like I think he has been, but this drive was really well called. They were mixing things together, and the touchdown was a play action in the red zone to Hunter Henry in the flat, and I thought the play call was nice. The way they set it up was good. You block it up, the defense is confused, and there's like a huge pocket. Maye's got all the time in the world, and then I think one of the areas where quarterbacks can struggle, and you see this still with Jacoby Brissett, is the timing of reading out a play. We saw it with Brissett. Sometimes he's getting stuck reading the field, and he's not looking for his check down, and he gets to it way too late. By the time he throws it, it's covered, or there's nowhere for the dude to go. Other times, he's throwing the check down way too soon. Maye today, I thought, and this play was a great example of it, He looks down the field. He reads it out. He recognizes it's not there. And in the timing of the play, hits Hunter Henry before the defense can get over to him. And it's a walk-in score. Like that is...
Well, that's
mentally,
one of those...
He was very sharp.
100%. And the play, was designed for him to block, which he does. He blocks for a bit. And then after he blocks, he releases. And Maye waited for him to do it. Once he released, wide open, hit it. And so that was a nice play. I thought, though, maybe the play I was most impressed about with Maye, and, a play that, again, we don't see Patriots quarterbacks making, is the pass on Hunter Henry in the middle of the field, where the protection breaks down. He's scramble drill, and all of a sudden, Henry kind of moves towards the middle of the field, and Maye throws it across his body with pressure on his face and hits Hunter Henry, and he picks up 30 yards down the middle of the field. And that to me, that's a huge play. And that's a perfect example of the type of thing that Drake Maye brings to the table and why the Patriots drafted him at number 3 overall. Look, this is the way that quarterback play is played in the NFL now. It's the way it is. And I thought that he executed it perfectly, at least on that play. Again, not everything was perfect, but on that play, he did a really nice job.
Yeah, agreed. And then the defense. The defense forces the punt.
Yep.
And this is going into the start of the fourth quarter here. It's 27-14, and you're thinking, it's not likely we come back in this one.
We have a chance,
but you have a chance.
Yeah.
First play, setting up a screen to the left side. Defender gets his hands up. Maye throws over. Ball gets deflected into the air and is caught by someone that Austin Hooper is actively blocking.
It's unbelievable.
What are you supposed to do with that?
It's just not like it was a great play by Will Anderson, right? To not get cup blocked, right? Great play by Will Anderson, but like the catch was just ridiculous. I mean, that's something you see on like Sports Center top 10 play, where the dude's making a catch like that, and you're just like, how is that even possible? And Hooper has no idea the ball's coming, right? It's not like he's a defender. Hooper's just blocking, like it's a screen pass. I'm just blocking the guy. He has no idea the ball's even in the air.
No, nothing he can do about that.
And it's just like, man, that's just awful luck.
Horrendous luck. And this game was like that. Like Maye had one proper interception that he deserved.
Yep.
And then you got a strip sack that's on the right tackle, which it's just gonna happen. Like Maye's gonna get hit. Mm-hmm. It's just gonna happen, and sometimes the ball's gonna come out. Unfortunate. Yep. The other 2 turnovers, though. The Hooper one is just a dumb play. Got to take care of the ball if you're him. And this interception, nothing. That's not going to happen again this season. So, I think in another world, you got a real shot to be, in the game at this point. Instead, Houston, they turned that into a touchdown 2 plays later. You're down by 20.
Right. And that's, so it's just tough. But then I will say they responded very nicely to it, right? He has that nice play to Polk across the middle of the field. And where earlier on the Hunter Henry drive, he had one in the middle of the field to Pop, and he threw it behind him. And Pop made a great play by jumping and making the catch behind him. But, it was one of those ones where, like, if you lead him, he's picking up a lot of yards. And
this was on the touchdown drive before, right?
That was, say that again?
That was on the touchdown drive before, yeah.
On the touchdown drive to Henry, right? Yep. So, and credit to him, they run that play again. Pop's wide open in the middle of the field, and this time he actually leads him, hits him perfectly in stride, and Pop takes out down the field. And I think that's, that to me is what you want to see. Like, you made the mistake, you learn from the mistake, bam, you hit him in stride this time. And, Pop takes off for a long touchdown. And that to me, like, it's small areas where he's making improvement, Yeah. And so there's some questions in the chat about like, why is he playing? Right. He's getting killed behind a makeshift offensive line, which he is. I mean, this offensive line is being held together with duct tape and bubble gum. Like they don't have anyone out there that can play, but you have to get this kid out there. You have to let him learn, make mistakes and learn from his mistakes and see what he's got. Right? If he's going to turtle because he has no offensive line ahead of him, maybe he's not the guy anyways. Right? And so it's one of those things where it's like, see what you got from him and then see if he can get better. I'm looking at Caleb Williams at the beginning of the year. Caleb Williams looks awful at the beginning of the year. Awful. He looked pretty damn good today. Right? Jane Daniels looked okay in his first start. He's looked good too. So it's one of those things where it's like, it's not every week's gonna be perfect, but you just have to go out there and keep playing the kid because he's going to get better. And you see the flashes today, and it's like, okay, you see the flashes now. Let's see if you can do it all the time.
Yeah. Yep. I'm like, part of this, those throws to pop over the middle. The more he does it, the more accurate he's going to get anyway, because they're going to get chemistry. He's going to know exactly how far to lead him, where to put the ball.
Exactly.
Which you saw throughout the game. First throw was bad miss. Second throw was a close miss. Third throw was a miss, but still catchable, and Pop makes a good play on it. And then the fourth one is right on the money and turns into a touchdown, which, by the way, Pop's first career touchdown.
Yep.
You got three guys getting their first career touchdowns today: Maye, Boutte, and Pop. So shout out to all three of them. And that was keeping you around in this game. You're down. What was it after that? 34-21. So you're still a ways away.
Still in it, but you're down. Yeah.
Under 10 minutes left in the game. That's a tough spot to be. And then that's where the defense finally really caves. And what was it? Yeah, you have the 54-yard rushing touchdown, which after the ad break, we circle back to the defense. I'm sure we'll get into that. After that point, you get what do you call a 3-and-out?
Yeah,
not a 3-and-out.
No, the drive to nowhere. It's just the end of the game. They picked up some nice plays or whatever. But
there was one drive they picked up one first down and then punted, and then Houston went 3-and-out when they put Davis Mills in.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right.
And then Pats go back out there and, just kind of run the clock down, and they get a little bit more experience moving down the field. Miles Bryant got some playing time in there for Houston.
So he did.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get to let's do our first ad break, and then we'll get to the defense. All right, of course, this ad break is for PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Now, again, as it said, you can win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. They also are the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy. So your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, PrizePicks keeps your lineup live. Now, for me personally, I hope you didn't follow me because I suck at this. I'm just so flipping mad at this. I nailed the Drake Maye. I had Drake Maye for more than 150.5 passing yards. Got that one. But unfortunately, I was off on the Stephon Diggs for less than 65.5 receiving yards. And I was off on Kyler Murray with the more than 35.5 rushing yards. But what are you going to do? Sometimes those things happen. Unfortunately, it happens for me more so than other people. What you're going to do is you're going to download PrizePicks today. You're going to put in the promo code CLNS. And when you do that, you're going to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download PrizePicks today. Put in the promo code CLNS, and you'll get $50 back when you make your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Whew. So as the guy pointed out, I am sick. Yes, my voice is always gone after the Patriots game, but I am also fighting something off today. And so not feeling great, but I'm here anyways, podcasting because people want to hear what we have to say about the Pats game. And
this is life when you're a school teacher, isn't it?
That's the way it goes, man.
Mystery little bugs here.
Beginning of the year, always get sick in the beginning of the year, every year. It's brutal.
Yeah.
It's good.
Defense?
Yeah, the defense, man. Look, again, I think we're going to criticize the defense because we have to. Because the defense, and Drake Maye did today, and I agree with him. But the thing for me is that, you're without Barmore, you're without Bentley, you traded Judon right before the season started, you lost Peppers, you just keep losing guys, right? Kyle Duggar still wasn't 100%, I don't think. And so it's like, there are issues. And Marte Mapu, I think, was a bright spot and is a bright spot. But, like, I don't know, on one of those long runs, he looked pretty far out of position from what I saw, at least. And so, you want to see him maybe get off a block and make a play. So we'll see.
Yeah, I understand the personnel stuff with the defense. I don't expect them to be elite at this point with who they have out there, but I was very disappointed today. I think early on in this game, you try to play up man coverage against these guys, and the guys aren't up for the task. Gonzo gets beat twice on basically the same route by Stephon Diggs on the first drive as Texans start to set the tone. This is Gonzo's easily the worst game of his career.
Without a doubt,
And in one of these, sequence on the first drive where CJ Stroud steps up in the pocket and delivers the ball to Tank Dell, where Marte Mapu is immediately saying, hey, that hit the ground. And, like, nobody's buzzing in to see if that was it. Well, I don't know their internal operations, but they're not challenging to see if that was a catch or not. Houston is sprinting to the line of scrimmage to make sure that they can get a playoff before there's a review. All telltale signs for this is not a catch.
I couldn't tell. Did they show a replay on the broadcast? Because
why would they do
couldn't tell if he actually caught it or not.
No, CBS did a terrible job with the broadcast today. They almost missed Maye's first play because they were showing so many like graphics and stuff. By the time they got to the field, he was already handing the ball off on the first play. But yeah, no, I didn't think CBS did a good job. They didn't show a replay of that at any point. You can't tell if that hit the ground or not. But then this is the theme of the season. Houston goes no huddle, hurry up there. They should get them the ball and run something. Guys really just aren't in position. There's no urgency from the players to get set.
Yeah.
There's no, and maybe they're intentionally being a little bit lackadaisical to try to draw it out and give time for the team to look at it. But like, I don't know, the ball gets snapped and they did not look like they were ready for it. And that's the opening drive of the game. I don't love that. Jonathan Jones, I think, had a rough day today. So the first two drives, it's a lot of man coverage. You got a pass interference in the second drive on Marcus Jones that was rough. So the coverage early on in this game left a lot to be desired, and I thought they did a great job from there on out.
Yeah,
we already down 14-0 at that point. I'd like you to figure that out earlier, and then the rest of the game, the run defense, man, it's easily the second best game the Texans have had all season running the ball. And by EPA per play, usually you aren't generating positive points, positive EPA when you run the ball. The Texans were as efficient running as they were passing today, which you never see. Multiple 50-yard runs allowed. I got to go into the tape to see who's responsible for all of these, but you can't have it. I'm not going to criticize the defense for the short yardage stuff. I thought they generally did a really good job off of the turnovers at limiting the damage. It was the other drives where they had an opportunity to try to set the tone and they just couldn't do it. Too many big plays.
I think some of the stuff, like the Marcus Jones stuff, to me, look, I think that's coaching too, right? Like that's some scheme stuff. He was on off man coverage, on Tank Dell. Like, what are we doing? Off man coverage? Like, that's insane. Because all of a sudden he's cutting across the field and Marcus is 6 yards away from him as he's cutting across the field. It's like, how is he ever going to make that play on that ball? It set him up to fail on a few of those crossing routes by Tank Dell. And I just, that's frustrating when you see that happen. And so, it is what it is. But like, you felt like you wish that the coaching staff had put him in a better position. And I thought, look, people in the chat are saying that Diggs is a great receiver. He is. I'm not saying Diggs isn't a great receiver, but the plays that he beat Gonzo on, they weren't like incredibly crisp routes or like, oh my God, what a route by Stephon Diggs. Not really. I mean, there were a few out routes or corner routes. They were just like, and the touchdown to Diggs, maybe, the play action froze him for a second, but like, why are you looking at play action? You're man-to-man on Stephon Diggs. What are you doing?
Yeah, and I didn't mind the touchdown as much just because, like, that's a really tough spot to defend. And that's a tough player to defend in that spot. Like, So I think that's an area where Gonzo can improve and learn from this and clean up some of his footwork and stuff. Just the way he reads the routes. But I didn't like, what something said on Twitter is that you got a rookie quarterback starting. When that happens, you want everybody else elevating their games to take as much pressure off as possible.
Yes.
In the first 10, 15 minutes of this game, nobody did that. Defense is giving up 2 drives. Guys aren't making plays on the ball. The coaches, not getting on that completion of Tank Dell to challenge if it was an incompletion or shouldn't have been a completion. Special teams with 3 bad plays right off the bat. You're digging yourself a hole early. And this team isn't good enough to play from behind consistently. So,
Correct.
you almost feel like you got no chance to win 10 minutes into Drake Maye's first start ever. None of that's really on him. Oh, no, some of that's on him because he threw the pick, and that's bad. But other than that, it's not on him, and that's not, about setting him up for success. The guys around him got to play better. And then they eventually did. But the defense late, that –
It wasn't.
You kind of blew your chance to come back in this game with some of the fluky turnovers out of the half, and that's fine. But to not have a chance to have a drive, and you're down by 2 scores, there's 6 minutes left or whatever, to not have an opportunity for that drive to see if you can pull it within a score near the end of the 4th, because you're giving up a huge running play where like 4 guys missed tackles on it.
Yeah,
you just
real
can't
bad.
have that.
Yeah. It was real bad. And that's, look, I get you without guys. I understand that. But, they also couldn't generate a pass rush. I mean, it was bad, dude. It was bad. There were a few plays. Keon White had 1 or 2 plays, but, not really. Marte Mapu had a half a sack that combined with Christian Ellis, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And these guys aren't that good at rushing the passer, so, I'm okay. If they can't rush the passer, they can't rush the passer. But if you're out there, you can't rush the passer, and also you can't fit against the run and fill gaps and stop the run.
Then what are we doing?
Yeah. Raekwon McMillan, love you, dude. Plays with great energy.
Yeah.
Runs himself out of plays. Johnny Tavai without Bentley out there has been, I think, a lot rougher than anyone expected it was going to be. Yeah. I'm excited to see as Taki ramps up, if he can help this a little bit. We have heard a little bit about, Barmore hinting that he might be able to come back at some point, which would be very nice. But I don't know. Part of this is also Jake and Roy was on a practice squad 2 weeks ago, and I was playing 20+ snaps for you.
I thought he played pretty well too.
I thought he was fine for what he is, but he's a fringe roster guy, and you're asking him to play real snaps in a game like this. It's a tough position.
Yeah. So and we'll see. Old man, as the Giants miss a field goal. Old man mom asked about Chase Young. Would you take Chase Young on this defense? I mean, look, on a cheap 1-year deal, maybe. But I'm not looking at a guy like that as a real game changer for us. I'm not. We're going to change the defense, and he's going to be a guy to do it. I don't know. I don't look at him as a guy that can really make a difference. Maybe he can.
The guy, if we just looking way ahead here, if we're looking at free agents next year, he's older now, but if he actually hits the market, the name that stands out to me is Khalil Mack. He expired that this year, and he's an incredibly tough run defender. He is all the stuff we love about Anthony Jennings as a run defender. He gives you all of that, and he's a great pass rusher.
He can rush the passer. Yeah.
And I think Barmore, Keon White would be awesome. I think bringing in a veteran like that too would probably be very, very nice. Obviously we'll see if he hits the market, and if he is still all that. The Chargers got money. I don't know if I don't know how much money the Chargers actually have going forward. I assume that they have some money now after the moves that they made.
Yeah. Well, listen, there's a long way to go. Of course, we don't know where it's going to lead, but I do think that you have some pieces you can build upon. If Juwan Bentley can stay healthy, if Christian Barmore can get back to being healthy, you have Christian Gonzalez, you have Kyle Duggar. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Jabril Peppers, but I feel pretty good about where Marte Mapu is right now, as kind of a jack of all trades type of thing. And so, I don't hate it. But again, it's one of those interesting things for me where, like, yeah, we can build upon it, of course, right? We need guys, right? As Mr. Bill W says, Hassan Reddick. Hey, you never know.
The
maybe he wants
Chargers
to.
have $77 million in cap space right now, and Khalil Mack is their biggest free agent. So if he's good, I'm assuming he's going to end up staying home.
If they want him, he's going to stay, right? You know, but we'll see. I don't know. It's interesting to kind of see where it's going to lead from here, what they're going to do. You got to assume they're going to draft someone as well. Edge rusher is a sneaky need for them, and I wouldn't necessarily draft him in the first round. But if you're not drafting a guy in the first round, where do those guys come from? A lot of those, you're not getting one of those guys in the second and third round. You're just not.
No, and second round sometimes you can Keon White high second round. You could sometimes get guys there. But yeah, that's so. If we want to look forward to the draft real quick, I did some preliminary scouting this week to take a look at some of the stuff. Watch the offensive linemen and hearing some of the reports. If the Patriots have a top 5 pick, from what I have seen, I'm not interested in Will Campbell that high. I don't think he's worth that pick. I have concerns if he is even a tackle at the next level. Kelvin Banks, I think, has some of the traits that I like. He had a good game this week. I want to actually see it on tape. He had a good game this week, which made me feel a little bit better about him. But Banks is a guy who I have some real questions about. I don't know if he's a guy I would consider in the top 10. A lot of analysts are saying that he's not someone that's considered a top 10 pick by the NFL right now. Paper Waves in the chat asking about why I'm saying that about Will Campbell. The report, according to Dane Brugler, he had heard that Will Campbell may have 32-inch arms flat. Typically, NFL teams don't like tackles to have less than 34-inch arms, and 33-inch usually ends up being about the hard cutoff. Campbell has 32-inch arms. He's a Peter Skoronski guy who's going to convert to guard at the next level. That's just how it is. Josh Simmons, the left tackle from Ohio State, is someone who I've really liked on tape, and he got carted off the field, and I believe his season looks over during that game against Oregon, so I don't know what's going to happen there. The other LSU tackle and the other Texas tackle are guys who people like. I actually didn't watch them. I've watched a lot of Texas and LSU tape. I just never looked at the other side of the offensive line, so I don't know how good those tackles are, but the Patriots are picking in the top 10 here. I don't know if there's an offensive lineman I feel comfortable taking, but if there's an edge guy, that's a need. You can always use pass rushers. As Matt Benito says, Emory Jones and Cameron Williams are the other 2 tackles for LSU and Texas, respectively. And then Tet McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona.
Receiver, yeah.
He's 6'5" and quick. He
can
plays
really run.
He plays similarly to a Drake London, and that as a big outside receiver in this scheme with a big catch radius who he's got a real sense for where to run on the field and how to attack zone coverage. I could see that being something they like. I will say if the class, I haven't looked at the defensive guys yet, but if the class continues to look like this, I think the Patriots are going to have a real hard time trading back and getting value that way because I don't think anyone's going to want to come up. It's not 1-to-1, but in some ways I'm getting 2013 draft out of watching the guys in this class. Where great. You look at the top 16 picks in that draft and it's just a graveyard, dude. It's bad.
Yeah. Well, I just think, we'll see. We'll see how the quarterbacks play the rest of the way through. If Shador is a guy that people are enamored with that want to get up high, Travis Hunter is a guy that I think is going to go in the top 3. And so there are definitely guys that are there that people are going to be enamored with. The question is, how enamored with them are they going to be? I do think also, and look, we're months away from this, but I think that you can fix some of your issues in free agency instead of the draft, right? If a guy we're watching tonight, or some people are watching tonight, T. Higgins is available in free agency, and you go out there and get him, well, now you don't really have a wide receiver issue. At least not one that you're going to – at least not one where you need to draft a guy in the first round. Yeah. So
he'd be a scheme fit too. The way he can play outside,
100%.
He's
And so
he's going to run those routes, pops your slot. Everybody else is going to fit into that
and
flanker role. And
right. And so that's where I look at it and say, okay, if the Patriots go hard after T. Higgins and they get T. Higgins, now you say, okay, yeah, we still probably could use another wide receiver, but what's back burner wide receiver for right now? We need a tackle and multiple tackles potentially, and we need an edge rusher. Right? We need those things. So what can we do here? Right? Can we look at it and say, all right, well, we need this guy and we need that guy. And so anyways, I just think if you can solve some of those problems, you're not solving your tackle problem in free agency. You're not doing it. I don't think there's really any big tackles going to be available in free agency. And so
you can Band-Aid it. You can sign a guy who's a Chuksa quarter 4 level player pretty much every year.
Right. But it's like, what good is that? Like, you got to draft a real guy, you know?
Yeah. I will say, talk about fixing these issues. He got hurt again today, which stinks, but Vidarian Lowe looked good to me before he got hurt at left tackle. I don't know if he's ever how good he'll be, but like, he kind of looks like a guy who might actually be an NFL caliber starting left tackle, or at least swing tackle caliber guy right now, the way he's played this year, which helps you a ton. Like, that would be huge, especially the way this tackle class looks. If Vidarian Lowe, because here's the thing. If you have no left tackle, you have to address that need. But if you're sitting there at 3, when you draft the tackle, and no other tackle comes off the board for another 10 picks, and the pick before you and the pick after, or like the next 3 picks after you are a wide receiver, 2 defensive ends who become Pro Bowlers, and the guy you have isn't good, you're going to be looking back saying, wow, we missed on multiple impact players because we reached for a position where the NFL didn't like most of the talent.
Right.
That's 100%. A position you never want to be in. That is a failing position.
Absolutely. Yep.
If the left tackles this year aren't good, then maybe continue. We'll see when Lowe gets healthy. We'll see. He's had some injury issues here this year, but if he turns into somebody who can be playable, if he's the 22nd best left tackle in the league, yeah, you want to get better than that. You definitely want to get better than that.
But he's a starting caliber left tackle.
You only get a lot of holes in the boat. You only got so many fingers.
That's correct. All right, let's do our second ad read, and then we'll finish up here.
Yeah. Let me pull myself up here. Drake Maye made his first start for the Patriots today. We're about 2 weeks away from him making his second start when the New York Jets come to town. Some late October football. The weather is nice and cool. You get to tailgate a little, smell the beer, smell the brats on the grill as you're taking that walk from the parking lot into Gillette Stadium to see perhaps the new franchise quarterback for the New England Patriots. GameTime has made that easier than ever with GameTime picks. That filters out the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. We take a look at this game coming up. They got a lot of tickets available, and they star the ones that are the best value for you, so that you can just click that, and that's where it is. They got one that's burning up for $170 way up top. You can get down near the field. They got one for $300. They got one for $253 near where Pat is if you want to go hang out with him. They got one for $240 down near the end zone. They got a bunch of tickets available for this game if you want to go to that one. And with that all-in pricing, that price you're seeing when it pops up on the map, that is the price you're going to pay. No surprise fees at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download GameTime today. What time is it? GameTime.
Love it.
Who we haven't talked about today?
Who's that?
And he barely got a mention on our Wednesday show. That's Mr. Ben Brown, your new starting center for the New England Patriots.
Yep.
So the story, I believe he was signed the day we did our show. We weren't right before the show. We weren't even clear if he was signed to the roster or the practice squad. He was signed to the active roster. And according to, I was listening to Doug Hyde before this, and his preliminary PFF numbers didn't allow a pressure today.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't think he played particularly well. Now, maybe the film.
They said they didn't love him as a run blocker, but in pass protection, they said he didn't let up a pressure, which I'm assuming that one early we were talking about, assuming that's a snap thing, and they're not going to give that to any offensive lineman for why you're allowing a pressure.
Yeah, potentially. Okay. That's fair. I mean, I just think, it's, yeah. I just thought he played okay, but certainly not very well. Definitely in the run protection, I thought he was really bad in run blocking. But he's a guy who showed up on Tuesday and was calling out the protections today. I mean, that's a pretty impressive performance.
I thought, too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, showed up Wednesday, was here for 2 practices, and, and was calling out pressures and all that. Like, I thought he did an admirable job. Do I want him as my starting center moving forward? No. But to fill in a pinch like that, I thought was impressive.
Well, and I think the fact that, you've got Brian Hudson on the practice squad, who you elevated last week, who has been with the team for a couple weeks now. And you got Nick Leverett, who played last week, been with the team since camp. And this dude who just took a red eye in and practiced twice with you think is already a better option. Leverett dealing with an injury, so that could be why, but he was active for the game.
Right.
I think if the injury were that big of a concern, he might be inactive and you're elevating, someone from the practice squad there. And not the case. They just start Ben Brown in the position. I thought he did an admirable job. And, maybe, just maybe, he's able to turn into something. I don't know. I think the tough part of this offensive line, we talked all week about how you finally get the same starting 5. And you can't. It's different center, and immediately Vidarian Lowe gets hurt.
Yeah.
So they're probably. It seems like Lowe might be out. I don't know what they're doing at left tackle next week, and that means that it's going to be 7 weeks, 7 different starting 5s potentially here, which
it's rough.
Really,
rough.
really tough. There's not much you can do there.
Yeah. I don't know. Look, I think with you're not able to, and Mayo touched on it a little bit in his press conference in the game. Like, you're just not able to build any continuity, right? The communication is so important with an offensive line, and it's like the communication is just, you can't develop it because you just don't have the player. You just don't have the guys out there, right? They're just not together. And it's like, well, at a certain point, like, what do you want them to do? Like, they're just not, never mind the fact that they're not, very good to begin with, then they're not even playing together, right? And so that's definitely a challenge, right? That's definitely a challenge. And, Zach Thomas playing left tackle today was just like a disaster. But of course it was a disaster. Like you said, he's a guy that they want to play at guard, and he's playing left tackle against Will Anderson. Like, one of the last plays, I'm trying to figure out I don't remember exactly what play it was, but there's a play where Hunter Henry came up, and it looked like Hunter Henry was gonna block him, and he didn't. But it delayed him a little bit from getting after the left tackle, and he still made the sack. And you're just like, a certain point, like, what, like, you couldn't get anything to work right, and so
your offensive line out there, it's 2 waiver claims from cut down day, and a guy you signed off a practice squad on Wednesday.
Right.
Plus,
yes, not ideal.
Big Mike, who's trying to deal with all this around them, and Michael Jordan on the left side, because City Stowe hasn't been good enough, and Layden Robinson both hasn't been good enough, and then was inactive.
Right. Yeah. Well, and Jordan goes out with an injury as well, gets replaced by City Stowe. So
I think Michael Jordan came back in during the game.
I think you're right, but he was out for a bit. It's just like, so that's.
Tough.
The injuries keep piling up, and you look at it and say, okay, if the Patriots had a fully healthy offensive line, if they had a fully healthy offensive line, and Vidarian Lowe was a left tackle, and Michael Jordan was a left guard, and David Andrews
was at left guard,
right? But David Andrews was the center, and Mike Onwenu was playing right guard, and Caden Wallace was playing right tackle. I'd feel okay about their line. Wouldn't love it, but I'd feel okay about their line. The problem is they're on like their 4th left tackle, and they're on their, I guess theoretically the left guard they want, and the right guard they want, they're on their 2nd or 3rd center, and they're on their 2nd or 3rd right tackle, and you're just like, well, how the hell can you be successful like that? And do you have to start looking at the offensive line and ask, like, how are they hurt every game? How is it possible that they get hurt in every single game? I know that happens, but it doesn't happen to every team.
Well, Lowe got rolled up on a sack because the defender lands on his ankle. That's what happened to Caden Wallace too, where the entire line lands on his ankle.
Right.
Andrew think is just older, and that happens.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. They've dealt with weird stuff too, with guys leaving, and it's
that's the hard thing, and and as much as people want to get on Elliott Wolf for not bringing in guys, and I get it, I understand, but it's like, as old man mom said, we've had 5 different. They've played 6 games. 5 different players have played left tackle in 6 games. You can't be successful. I don't care what team you are. I don't care if you're the Texans who have Laramie Tunsil at left tackle, who's a great left tackle. If you're on your 5th left tackle of the season, you can't really be expecting a lot from that guy. And so, it is what it is, and they just haven't been healthy, and so which sucks. But that's just the way it goes.
Yeah. So, side note, because you mentioned Laramie Tunsil, got me thinking about it. Because he's the most penalized player in the NFL, I believe he has 7 false starts this year.
Which is wild.
They got DeMontre Jacobs for false start today that I thought was questionable.
Yeah, he was close.
Doing the thing where you get a little bit of a head start on the snap, but your foot doesn't come down before the ball's snapped. And I'm not sure where that is in the legality, but I don't know. I've seen other people get away with that, so I don't know why Jacobs isn't. The Texans are one of the most penalized teams in the NFL. 4 penalties today for 38 yards. I think that's.
Yeah, the Patriots. I thought the officiating. And we talked about this already. I thought the officiating was awful, just absolutely atrocious. And I thought they missed calls on Houston. I thought they made some bad calls against the Patriots, and I'm sure they missed calls against the Patriots too. But it was just one of those things where I looked at it and just said, like, what are we even looking at? Some of the plays, it was just like, what are you even talking about? And so, you had another bad play.
Nate Tyson's getting them on this because they were like, this is a group that just throws the flag if something looks like it could be a penalty, and they just assume there was one.
Right. The Monte Mapu one makes absolutely no sense. It's completely insane. It was a 3rd down play. That's a 4-point penalty. Right, that's a field goal turns to a touchdown, right? And it's just like, that's not the penalty. Even if you wanted to call him on that, which was with ticky tack, then it's illegal touching, right? It's illegal. It's the chuck rule, and so it's a 5-yard penalty, illegal contact, 5-yard penalty, automatic 1st down. Fine, they don't get the ball to 1-yard line. That makes a huge difference.
And I think it was within the 5 yards. I don't think it was illegal contact.
No, the Mapu one was in the end zone. I'm talking about the first one that led to the first Houston touchdown.
Yeah.
That was down the field. That was like a 15-yard, 20, 30-yard penalty.
Oh yeah. Sorry if you got the siren. There sounds in New York, my apartment.
New York City. That's the way it goes.
Yeah. But yeah, that was tough day there. I think they'll probably be better. I'd hope they'd be better with the penalties next week, because I think they've gotten a real tough luck of the draw this week and last. And I thought put it this way, a lot of things that were called holding against them last week were not called holding when Houston did them today.
Yep.
And I know you're going to get inconsistency in the NFL. A lot of these are judgment calls, and it's different human beings making the calls. So I can live with that. But at some point, you should get a game in your favor and going the other way with this. Hopefully.
You would think.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So I'm not. We'll see. But I don't know. I don't know if that's actually going to happen or not. I suppose we'll see. But man, it's frustrating. So. Maybe next week. Maybe Jacksonville's just that bad that the Patriots will get the calls and Jacksonville won't. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a really interesting week, because Jacksonville got destroyed by Chicago and a rookie quarterback, and
they got embarrassed. Yeah.
We'll see what New England's offensive line looks like going over there. And they got Josh Hines-Allen, who's a good pass rusher. They got some talent on the defensive front.
Mm-hmm.
Their secondary is not good.
No.
Score on this team, especially if Drake making out of the pocket and run a little bit. I'm like, you got a real chance to go get a win against a team that is demoralized. I'm not so super worried about the travel for something like this. They travel to San Francisco. It's about the same travel, I think, for them.
Yeah, the travel isn't so bad for the Patriots. It is interesting that they get the week in London, so they don't have to travel this week, and their bodies will adjust to time zone and all that crap.
You talk about Jacksonville?
Jacksonville, yeah.
Because the Pats are flying in on Friday. Yeah, they said they're going to practice Thursday and then fly Friday and then practice when they get there.
Which is interesting. That's an interesting choice.
I kind of like it. It sounds like they're just like kind of forcing the body clock to normalize right when they get there by getting right into a practice.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Well,
we'll see.
If you're there for a short time, you almost don't have to worry about the body clock anyway.
That's true. I suppose. Yeah, that's true. It's a fair point.
But
we'll see.
We'll see how that looks. Do we want to do a couple ups and downs in this game?
Yeah, we can do a few. Then we'll get out of here.
I can go first. I mean,
what's your first up?
Up, Drake Maye. First passer to go for over 200 yards against this defense this year.
Yep.
I thought he did an excellent job at basically everything we wanted him to do. Sans a couple accuracy problems, which were to be expected.
Mm-hmm.
So very optimistic after that one.
Yeah. And honestly, it becomes a situation where you look at what Drake Maye did and you just think all right, was it perfect? No. But it's against a really good defense. Like you say, they don't allow 200-yard passers. And I thought, he was impressive. My first one is Keyshawn Boutte. I mean, pretty obvious, right? Had a long touchdown pass where he smoked, Darryl Stingley, who's a very good corner in this league. And I also think that, the Patriots just flat out, they need wide receiver help. Boutte's shown an ability to get open. I think that he's pretty clearly taken that role from Tyquan Thornton. I don't think Tyquan Thornton probably should ever see the field again. As long as everyone's healthy, there's just no reason to put him out there.
Tyquan Thornton healthy scratch today, and there's talk about them trading him too, which I don't know what you're going to get back, but
not much. But see you later. Good riddance.
One that's depending on what he is. If there's a tackle prospect somewhere who hasn't panned out for a team, we want to swap failed draft picks down.
Right. What the hell? You know what I mean? Kind of like they did with Philip Dorsett, right? Where they traded Jacoby Brissett for Philip Dorsett. Obviously, different set of circumstances, but similar situation where Dorsett hadn't really worked out. They needed a backup quarterback, and worked out for both teams. Mm-hmm. Who's your next guy?
Let me think. Another up here. I'm going to give an up to Hunter Henry. He had a really nice day. He catches the touchdown pass.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a good job of finding the space for when Drake Maye was getting out of the pocket. This is something he talked about before the game. There's a clip that CLNS posted of him being very excited about this game.
Yeah.
And one of the things he was talking about was having to be ready for when Maye extends things and finding the space. And I thought you saw that connection. And a big body tight end like that who's super, reliable is a great thing for a young quarterback. So he goes on my up list.
I like it. Last up, I think, would be how do you feel about Brendan Schooler? How do you feel about Schooler? Made another special teams tackle.
Yeah.
He's just, got an extension this week, deserved it. Happy for him. And, he continued to play well as he has all year.
Yeah. I think there's a player who, I think this is the perfect segue, belongs both on the up list and the down list at the same time. And that's Marcus Jones, who had some really horrendous moments in coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And then saved that with a really nice interception. Marty Mapu with the deflection in the end zone. And Jones comes swooping in to grab the ball and get a nice return on it. So, did a good job of redeeming himself there. And net is probably neutral. But, did a good job of bailing himself out.
Right. No, that's a good point. That's a good point with him because I do think he has the ability to play well. Again, I think some of the scheme stuff was why he got beat so badly a few times in coverage. And then some of them were just bad reps by him, right? So, but a really nice interception, and he had a really nice punt return Of course, got called back because of holding by Marcelo Style, but had a nice play. For me, a big down for me is Jermichael Hasty. I don't know what the hell they're doing with Jermichael Hasty on the kick return team. It just makes absolutely no sense to me. He has zero burst back there, hasn't made a guy miss all season long. And if I were an opposing team, I'd be kicking it inside the landing zone every single time and making Jermichael Hasty return it. And if I'm the Patriots, that's the last time I ever put him out there. I would 100% put Marcus Jones back there. I have no idea why you don't have Marcus Jones back there. It makes no sense. It's like a punt return. That's exactly who should be back there is Marcus Jones.
Yeah, and Isaiah Bolden.
Right. That's another great example. I just doesn't make any sense to have Jermichael Hasty to be the guy back there.
No. And also, I got to watch it, but I didn't think the blocking on the kick returns was great either.
No.
So, not making life easy for Hasty there either.
True. It's a good point.
Yeah. We're doing. Where do we want to go from here? More downs.
Say that again.
Downs. More downs.
Yeah, if you get another down or two.
I mean, I feel bad putting DeMondre Jacobs in that category, but man,
yeah,
he was rough.
Yeah.
Raekwon McMillan, I think, also goes in the downs category. I think a lot of second-level defenders are going to end up in the downs, and defensive tackles are going to end up in the downs category once I watch the tape.
Yes. Yeah, and, it's some of the run fits, by Raekwon McMillan and even by Delane Tavai, just not good enough, unfortunately. And Jalen Polk, I think, is it down as well. Because, you just can't keep doing that. And so...
No, tough game for him. How Antonio Gibson was a down as a runner, up as a pass catcher. he looked fine as a pass catcher, but as an every down back. There wasn't a ton of space to run, but I did think he did a very good job maximizing it. I think it'll combine the ticker at some point, but I believe it was 13 carries for 19 yards.
It wasn't good. Now, in his defense, I mean, did he have a hole ever?
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
You know what I mean? It's not as though he had wide open holes and was just missing them. I felt like the vast majority of the time, he just wasn't getting the ball. And I think that's definitely an issue. So
yeah,
we'll see. But
and I gotta watch the tape, but I want to watch Onwenu on tape. It's he isn't looking to me on first watch like the guy they paid all that money for. Maybe I gotta just I want to watch it. He's been in a tough spot. He's been surrounded by people changing. He's changed positions multiple times this season. So he gets plenty of leeway here, but
right.
I want to watch him a little bit more closely on my tape watch and see how he did. And maybe I'm sure Doug Kite will post the PFF numbers at some point tonight. I think he usually does, and we'll get our first glance at where the pressures were.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So
yeah.
All right, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Right? You got anything else?
Best we felt after a loss in a while.
Probably, yeah. I mean, look, you feel some hope for the future with Drake Maye, and whatever happens the rest of this year, you do feel like you can't compete in this league without a quarterback.
Yeah,
and it seems like you have one now. I don't know if you do or not. We'll see, but early indications, kid looks like he can play, and that's a huge thing for the Patriots.
Well, I think the thing that stood out to me most for May is the mental stuff. You just don't really see a lot of mental mistakes, which is really rare for someone that's that young. And it's game one. Let's see how it looks when it's game 6 and there's tape out on him and defenses are doing stuff to try to confuse him specifically and all that, But I think the other thing we saw, just like we hoped we would, was the athleticism to overcome the negative plays. You see it with that pass to Bourne early, but take it off for a first down on a run. Defense vacates the middle of the field, gives you the free ability to move the chains. Just take it and we'll go on to the next one. That's exactly. instead of wasting 3 plays trying to struggle to get it, all right, it's just another first down, and you can move on to the next set of plays.
Right. I also think.
Boutte.
Go ahead.
Well, it's like that touchdown drive was a 5-play touchdown drive before the half.
Yeah.
Why? Because you have a 40-yard pass in there. It makes it a lot easier on the offensive line when, if they get a false start or a holding or something, it doesn't completely derail the drive because you have no hope of creating a big play. The quarterback can create big plays, so you can, if somebody messes up, you can still do something.
Well, and like even I think it was Boutte that caught it on the right sideline, so it would be the visitor sideline. And he threw it into traffic. It was a fairly tight window throw. The ball just comes out, it flies out of his hand. And that's what you want to see, right? It was a good decision, but he had the arm talent to get the ball in there. And that's the type of stuff that, that is huge.
First time since parts of 2020 where I'm never worried when the ball comes out of the quarterback's hand if it's going to get there fast enough.
Right. Correct. Yes. That's 100% true.
Because I remember when you watch Mac Jones film, there's a lot of time when you're evaluating him and you're looking at where he's throwing the ball. There's a lot of, is that open? Can his arm make that throw? Like, am I judging him too harshly? Or
right.
What is the room for error on this here? And with Maye, there's just there's none of that. There isn't a throw on the field that he isn't capable of making. It's improving the consistency and the accuracy, but he can make all those throws.
Yep.
To say it as Bill Belichick would, he can make all the throws. He can also do a lot more than just make all the throws.
Right. So
there's discussion in the chat about Drake Maye's height. He measured in at 6'4" and 3/8 at the combine.
Right, the same exact height as Tom Brady. So
it's a good height. Wish I was that tall.
Yes,
nice.
They can lie all they want on all different things. The combine doesn't lie. The combine doesn't measure them in differently. They actually measure them. So yes,
6'4" and 3/8 is legit.
Correct. Yes, can at UNC maybe he was listed at 6'5" or 6'6". I have no idea. But when he goes to the combine and they weigh, well, that's what I mean. But you can say whatever you want when you're at UNC. But when you go to the combine and they weigh you in, everyone can see what's going on. They measure exactly where you are. So
one of from my past life doing college basketball stuff, especially when I was in college doing commentary and all that. One of the funniest things is how little regulation or auditing there is whatsoever about player heights. I think they actually let the players just self-report what their heights are for the things you see online, and it's accurate, maybe 50% of the time. And you'll be there at games and it's well, that guy says he's 6'8", and that guy says he's 6'8", but they are 3 inches apart.
Oh my God, the Giants. Unbelievable. The Giants are down 17-7. They just attempted a 45-yard field goal to cut it to a 1-score game. The kid missed wide left again for the second time this game.
Oh my goodness.
It's dude, what is going on, man? So obviously game's over at this point, but anyways.
Yeah.
So anyways, well, thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate it. We're going to be back next week. Might be a little bit of a different day. We'll keep you guys updated as to what's going on. We might have a fairly large guest this week, so we'll let you know if that's the case. But anyways,
and Drake Maye era is here.
That's right, baby. Embrace the Drake Maye era. We'll see you guys this week.